Welcome to this explainer of the Collapse Inc. report. So, the year is January 2019. The money is flowing, the hype is absolutely deafening, and a company called WeWork officially announces a $47 billion valuation. Overnight, it becomes the most valuable startup in the United States. It's a moment of pure euphoria in the financial markets, but the forensics, well, they tell a completely different story. $47 billion for a company that fundamentally defied its own massive valuation. When auditors actually looked at the reality of the business, the facts were glaring. WeWork had no underlying technology, they held no patents, and despite being entirely reliant on physical office space to generate their revenue, WeWork owned absolutely no real estate. So the question that sparked this entire audit becomes, what exactly is worth $47 billion here? You see, the answer isn't found on a balance sheet or tucked away in a bank account. What WeWork had was a story, and one man who was very, very good at telling it. Chapter 1. The Story. Adam Neumann built this incredible illusion by reframing basic, everyday co-working spaces as a high-tech platform. He spoke the language of consciousness elevation. And you know what? Intelligent people believed the mirage because the corporate paperwork told them to. In their official S-1 registration filing, the company explicitly wrote about Neumann, quote, critical to our operations. This illusion reached the absolute highest levels of global finance. SoftBank's Masayoshi Son looked at a company that was essentially just leasing out office desks and described it like this, quote, the next Alibaba larger than Google. That was the public narrative, the consciousness-elevating $47 billion mirage that captivated the entire business world. But when you strip away the big words and all that charisma, what was actually inside the numbers? Chapter 2. The documents nobody read. The self-dealing sits right here, item by item. It's literally like reading entries in a forensic audit report. Let's look at how the founder actually operated behind the scenes. First, the property scheme. Adam Neumann bought commercial real estate privately. He then turned around and leased those exact same buildings back to his own company, personally profiting from WeWork's rent checks. Then there was the trademark scheme. He copyrighted the word we, a single pronoun, and he sold it back to WeWork for $5.9 million. Now, look at the share structure. It was specifically designed to give him 20 times the voting power of a normal shareholder. It wasn't just corporate influence, it was absolute power. No one on the board and no one in the company could overrule him. And finally, the cash out. Before the company even held its initial public offering, before the public could really look at the books, he quietly liquidated massive amounts of his own shares, $700 million, secured in his personal pocket. For years, all of this extraction was hidden behind closed doors and non-disclosure agreements. And then in August 2019, the S-1 registration finally became public, and people actually read it. Chapter 3. The 60-Day Collapse. The unraveling was absolute. Between August and October 2019, the market finally reacted to the truth. The valuation falls from $47 billion toward $10 billion in under 8 weeks. SoftBank's Masayoshi Son, the man who had just called this company the future, panics. He begins actively working to remove the very man he had funded. An emergency board meeting is called. The absolute power he had written into his own contracts suddenly faces the reality of a multi-billion-dollar freefall. The room is tense. And then it happens. Adam Neumann, founder and CEO, sits in the boardroom and votes against himself. The architect of the illusion was officially out. But what did he actually receive on his way out the door? Chapter 4. The Exit. We are going to look at the extraction and the fallout, side by side, because these are the two vastly different realities of the WeWork collapse. Let's review the founder's exit package. A required consulting fee of $185 million, a $500 million repayment of his personal loans, and the right to sell his shares, totaling $1.7 billion, for the man who oversaw the collapse. Now look at the other side of the ledger, the employees. 5,000 people were laid off, and the equity they had worked for, the shares they believed in, were rendered completely worthless. The employees lost everything. The founder walked away a billionaire. Where did he go? Chapter 5. The Return. Fast forward to November 2023. WeWork officially files for bankruptcy. And Adam Neumann, now running a newly funded real estate company called Flow, attempts an audacious move. He tries to buy back the remains of the very company he tanked. WeWork's board refused to even engage with him. In response, Flow's lawyers wrote, quote, "We write to express our dismay with WeWork's lack of engagement." Let that sink in. The man who destroyed WeWork tried to purchase the remains. The board that removed him said no. Adam Neumann is worth an estimated $1.7 billion as of late 2024. WeWork is bankrupt. The $47 billion valuation is gone. Thousands of employees lost their jobs and their equity. And Neumann, who sold his company a trademark for the word we, who voted himself out of his own boardroom, who walked away with nearly $2 billion while the company collapsed, has never been charged with a crime. This The Collapse Inc. explainer doesn't tell you what that means. The exit package already does.